So we learned a little last week about this man called Christopher Columbus. Do any of you remember anything we saw? Anything I read? Anything you wrote? Let's see if you do. Great explorer in history. So who was Christopher Columbus? Do you remember that one? Ibn Battuta. And that one is Christopher Columbus. Ibn Battuta lived here. Where did he live? Where did Christopher live? Before William Shakespeare? Well, I think he lived before this man who went to the moon. And this man who won a gold medal at the Olympics. Yep, that's right. He lived here. He lived between Ibn Battuta and William Shakespeare. He was born in Italy, that's in Europe, in 1451. His father bought and sold wool. He was born in a period called the Renaissance. Lots of people were building new ships because they wanted to explore the parts of the world which hadn't been explored. Christopher Columbus's first trip was when he was only 13 years old. Christopher Columbus learned to sail in a wooden ship with sails. He learned the way to find his way at sea by using the stars and the sun. He went to Portugal and sold maps. He had a dream to travel and go to China. To follow his dream, Christopher Columbus needed money. So the King and Queen of Spain gave him money to buy ships. And on the 3rd of August, 1492, he sailed. Well, it wasn't an easy life on the ship. The men had no cabins. Everyone slept on the deck. And it was very wet. And they had to keep pumping water out. But he found somewhere. And he used a compass to find his way there. He could go north, east, south, west. But it was not an easy day. Close your eyes and imagine, how would you feel if you were lost at sea? What would you do? I know what they did. They used to have, when they were on a desert island, they used to write a note to say, lost on a desert island, come and save me, please. And they put it in a bottle, threw it into the sea and hoped that somebody would find it. Well, Christopher Columbus did sail into the sea and did find new land, and they called it the New World. People were living there before. They were Native Americans, and Christopher Columbus called them Indians. Christopher Columbus's biggest ship was 23 meters long. Before Christopher Columbus traveled to America, no one in Europe had had a tomato or a potato. Have you eaten a tomato or a potato? The sailors ate stew with salt, meat, and bones. But he had a problem. One of his ships was damaged by the reef, and he had to leave them behind. And they were all dead when he went back to get them. He traveled a lot. He tried to get to China, but he didn't. He ended up in America again. And his ships had so many holes in them that he had to wait a whole year for him to fix it before he could get home. When he did get home, he was very ill and he died in 1506. But don't forget, he wasn't the first person to land in America. The Vikings landed in America 500 years before this, but he didn't know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the story of Christopher Columbus. So let's have a look at a bit that you're going to do for me. So here it is, Christopher Columbus. Oh, when Christopher Columbus was a little boy, he dreamt of going on a boat and setting sail across the world. He drew maps of the world and he sold the maps with his brothers in Italy. He asked the king and queen of Spain whether he could go and investigate other islands. And they said yes. They gave him 3 ships. So he set sail with 3 ships. He found a place called the Indies. And he was the first person. Well, he wasn't really, because the Vikings got there 500 years beforehand, but he didn't know. But he didn't last long. He kept sailing and eventually died after becoming very ill on one of his ships. So that's what you need to fill in there. And then you need to write a bottle from one of the people who were lost on the ship. Remember the ship that couldn't sail? They had to stay there? Anyone, please help me. I am trapped on a ship and I would like you to find me, please. Yours sincerely. Hey, this is like one of those poems, one of those shape poems. It's in the bottle. If you can do a shape poem in a bottle, that would be really cool. I look forward to seeing what you can do.